That is probably the most excited I've ever been and ever will be to see dudes in their underwear playing dodgeball. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dodgeball Podcast, where my sole aim is to have an in-depth conversation about the sport we've all grown to love with those who love it. Whether you're brand spanking new to this amazing gift that keeps on giving, I'm talking about dodgeball, or have been around as long as I have or longer, my hope is that you'll enjoy these episodes as much as I enjoy making them, and that you become that much more endeared to the game. My next guest should be no stranger to the dodgeball community. He's an amazing dodgeball advocate, member of the team New York Empire, world record holder, all-around great guy, and someone I can talk dodgeball with for hours on end. So, without further ado, here we go. Alrighty, well, I am here now with Rob, hometown Immel. Rob, thank you so much for doing this again. I know that we had a pretty awesome conversation, 2 months ago, and because of technical ignorance, here we are again, trying to figure it out, but appreciate you hanging in there. I really wanted to capture our conversation, so I guess we kind of have to do it again, but fortunately I kept all the questions. Let me go ahead and start with why hometown?
Hometown. First of all, thanks for asking me to chat with you on this podcast.
Sure.
I really appreciate it, and any opportunity to talk about dodgeball is one that I will definitely take advantage of. Hometown was born, I guess. Actually, when I went out to Vegas to try out for the NDL Pros in 2005, I went out with a friend who I just met, and he wasn't from the area that I'm from. But any time that we went out, whether it be to a club or to a concert or to some kind of family event, I knew a lot of people, and he kept asking me, like, "Where's your hometown?" And I'm like, here. Maybe we'd be in different places. And even in Las Vegas, I'd run into people. And he's like, dude, it's like everywhere we go, it's like your hometown. You just know everybody. He's like, you are hometown. And that kind of stuck. And it's kind of true. Every time I go to a new place, I have a connection to somebody there. And I don't know, I'm involved in a lot of different things, so I know a lot of different people. And that's how hometown was created. Nice.
Yeah, I was talking to Eric Bread Truck Tillmans, and it's kind of like nicknames just kind of stick with you, and most of them seem to be given. I can go into detail about mine, but I can always tell you that it was bestowed upon me. It wasn't really a choice. Like, I will be known as Hurricane. It became that way. It was like a term of endearment, and it seems to be like a common theme in dodgeball. Like, most people are going to have nicknames at some point in their lives, and some own it, and some are like, no, don't call me that. That's not cool. Well, either way it's going to happen.
Hurricane and hometown are a lot better than like Stone Hands and
That's a very good point.
Dodger, so if we get one bestowed upon us that is okay and we can live with, we should accept it, because who knows what the next one might be.
That is a very good point. I am actually now grateful for Hurricane even more so let's keep it at that. Well, one of the things that I'm doing with this podcast is I'm trying to spend some time going back to the good old days, and by good old days I mean like even pre-NDL. And one of the things that I really appreciated about our conversation was just kind of talking about how you came to dodgeball. It shocks me that Tucson, I know, big surprise, is not the only city that started playing dodgeball before the movie. And I'm thinking we started around 2004-ish. How about you? When did you start, and how did you start, I guess, is probably the better question. So how did you get into dodgeball?
This question comes up a lot, and it's funny because I remember it like everybody else in grade school and high school and things like that, but then it just kind of like left. But then it kind of just, from like a phoenix, kind of like reemerged in my mind in college. I was involved in I played basketball a little bit in college, and then I stopped, and then kind of did every intramural sport, and I was just kind of thinking about different games, and just after kickball intramurals, we would kind of like just throw a ball around and kind of do like outlaw games and break into the field house and do dodgeball games. I think that was kind of it. And then one day in my statistics class, Dr. Ray Papalardi asks the huge room of future teachers of the world, future physical educators, just for an example of a game that we would like to teach in our future classes. And I think I was a junior in college, and I shot my hand up from the third row and said, dodgeball. And the look that he gave me and the collective like gasp from the rest of the student body was unforgettable. I thought, you would think I slept with his daughter. Like, it was so ridiculous, this cold look. And he was a younger, like, fun guy. He actually played at, like, on my volleyball intramural team. He was like, dodgeball, you'd never, ever, ever teach dodgeball. That's the worst game you could ever think of. And it was just, he was like berating me for just saying this one word. So as he's going through his whole spiel about how bad dodgeball is, like, in my mind, it's like an inner monologue of, wow, this is so bad, it must be really awesome.
It must be really good to get that kind of response.
Yeah, so from there, I was hooked. I was like, I need to know, and I need to find, and I need to figure out something to do this game. And in my mind, it was like unheard of, so I thought I was some pioneer of the whole thing. Like, I almost invented it, But from there, it was just thinking about it, doing small games. And when I came home from college in 2003, I would just take over local tennis courts and just drop the net. I manufactured this weird key because I didn't have a tool to drop the net because they were kind of locked, and I would just unlock or break down the nets and put them back up like nobody knew. And every weekend we would just play on these tennis courts, and we'd have high school kids my dad played, and my sister played, and my girlfriend at the time, who was my wife now, she played.
Nice.
And we played year round. I remember waking up in the morning and going and salting all the ice spots after I shoveled, smashing all the ice and sweeping off the tennis courts. And we played dodgeball in the wintertime. We'd have 30 people there. And that was 2003. And then obviously I would just go online and look for opportunities to play and learn more about the game and find people like you somehow to get together and see what the sport has to offer.
Yeah, it's crazy how we all somehow found each other before the good old days of like Facebook, and even MySpace like was slowly starting to emerge. And like somehow we all knew dodgeball was happening. Where there was like message boards. I remember dodgeballer.com, I think, was like the first one that was like, holy crap, this is a website specifically for dodgeball. This is my life now.
Right,
and so we just cross our fingers waiting for like an Arizona tournament. And when you got started, let's go back to how you played. So, pre-movie for us, we played Medic, and so the rules were similar, but the games just went on forever. Like the idea of once you're out, you're done, and you can only get back if you're caught in was so foreign to us and to me that I thought it was stupid. Like when the movie came out, I was like, cool, you just ruined our Saturday night version of dodgeball. And how did you play?
It's funny because I look back and it was just that we would either do everybody until you're eliminated. This old guy, Ronnie, this old like backwoods guy, he told me about the catch thing, and then we just went with that, and that was it. And then we saw the movie or whatever, and was like, oh, it must be what it is. And that's actually the first guy who told me how to pinch. He's probably like 65 right now, and he said he used to take the volleyballs and pinch them, and I thought he was nuts until I tried it. That's a whole other story, but yeah, it's funny because I went to when I was in college, I was with people from all over the state of New York. So people from Long Island and upstate and up near Canada and out west near Buffalo, and everybody kind of had simple little versions of this crazy sport that we wanted to call dodgeball, and we knew it was dodgeball. So we would just kind of pick and choose what we liked from each one.
Because like for us, we found out about pinching through Mason Shank. I don't know if you remember the big dude that would come out of Arizona.
Yeah.
We would call Doom Train. Like he just had a monster grip, and he's like, hey guys, if you do this and throw it like that, you just get like 10 more miles per hour. And we're just like, holy crap, that's amazing. We just like found a hack, like a like God mode type of thing just got unlocked. And just hearing like how the progression of dodgeball or tennis court equals dodgeball, and let's just take and pick from these movies or from these rule sets, and then slowly kind of evolve in our own way. But at the same time, collectively, it seems like we were doing that in other states as well. That's pretty crazy. When the
Yeah, and
movie came out, oh, good.
you think that, this old guy plays this way, it must be just like made up. But, as everything comes to the surface now and we kind of can cross paths and talk to people from all over the country, everybody has that old guy and everybody has that same rule. It wasn't known. It wasn't just so uncovered. It was out there. We just had to go get it,
It was like collective conscious type thing
Yeah.
evolving. Speaking of old guys, just random question came to mind. Who has been the most random person that came across the dodgeball as it was happening? Like, any outrageously crazy characters that just came to mind, or just crossing paths with? I'll give you an example. So for us, we had one of our House of Representatives come play dodgeball, and I didn't find out until I think I saw him in the news or something. I was like, wait a minute, I know this guy. Like, he plays in my league. This is crazy. Anything like that on your end?
I don't think so. I mean, every tournament I go to, every time I play, I run into people that I just can't imagine. There's always a funny story. I mean, I played a team of, when I first started out, probably in '04, a team of semi-professional wrestlers were in town, and they put a team in this tournament. I remember this skinny kid wearing a golden Speedo, and he called himself Butters.
Oh, God.
I mean, you have characters like that.
That's not something you want to see.
It's kind of odd. Sometimes I'll have a parent of a student show up at Open Dodgeball, so I can kind of throw a ball at a student's parent. That's kind of cool. We did a lot of charity things and the world record things, so we get representatives and political parties and things like that to come and watch. But off the top of my head, I can't think of anything too crazy that I've played against or seen. I've seen people on the street that ask me to throw a ball at them, but nothing really on the dodgeball court that really sticks out.
Gotcha. So this whole thing started to slowly take shape, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said about 2003?
That's right.
Like, you guys kind of had your momentum going. When the movie came out, how much of a change did you see? Did you just blow up? Did you have more people hitting you up for games, or how did that impact you?
Yeah, I think that we definitely had a large increase in popularity, but half of it was a bunch of goofballs. You know what I mean?
The novelty people.
Right. But the other part was like, all right, wow, maybe this is something I can do. I've played some sports before, but I never really found my niche. This looks awesome. Thanks to the movie, I'm here. But of course, with that is the other side of the road where people are like, yeah, let's just get drunk and throw balls at each other, and just to say that we did it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. Just people riding the wave, and some people cashing in on it, and some people like, oh, we're going to be the Purple Cobras, just like the movie, ha ha ha, lol.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly. But I'll take half the teams that are just awful and just doing it for the movies, just for a few teams of people that really want to play. If that's what it took to wake them up to the sport, if they didn't have the opportunity, kind of like I did or what we did, and they needed that to see that on the big screen to say, wow, I want to try it, I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like you have this filter of, for every 10 people that show up, whether it's because of the movie or because of a tournament or whatever, what have you, of those 10, you might get like 7 that are going to stick around for like a league or two. You might get 5 that are going to be all about the tournaments, but you might get like 1 or 2 that are going to like be with you along your side, traveling, doing all the competitive tournaments, and they're the ones that are going to become like, the major players. And it's you're right. It's like we'll take the novelty, we'll take the silliness, but just keep feeding bodies to us, and we'll do it
exactly. And that's tough to find. And I don't want to segue into something different, but it's tough to find players that want to travel for dodgeball. I involved in softball and basketball and kickball and volleyball leagues, and it's easy to find teams. Teams form and players jump left and right, but to have someone come to dodgeball and come back wanting to get better and wanting to join the A team and wanting to travel and hopefully take it to the next level is actually tough to find.
Oh yeah, it is, and it's kind of rough because dodgeball is so already obscure. If you for some reason get the crazy idea to play dodgeball, you show up and you just get rolled. Like, you just get lit up all day long. You get cross-courted, you get caught. Like, you spend most of your time in the queue. You come back with some bruises. It's a really good chance you're not going to come back. And for me, being a league organizer, it would just kill me to see this. I would try to snuff it out every chance I got, because people needed like some kind of onboarding ramp. I'm sure you experienced that too, right?
And it's
trying to coach people.
It's tough because there's not people expect to just play this game and just be the top level that they know. If it was you had your expert, you had your pro, you had your expert, you had your beginner, you had your amateur, then they'd say, yeah, I'm just a beginner, I'm looking to be amateur. People show up to a dodgeball league or game or tournament expecting to be the best always. And that's just where we are right now. If people can't put on their Facebook status that they're the best at dodgeball, they're not going to want to do it. And it sucks because I see these good athletes and these good people show up on my dodgeball night. They come with their college buddies because they're home for Thanksgiving break. And they'll come for an hour, they'll fake an injury, or they'll just get hit and they just will not come back. And I think it's a huge ego blow, and this is a really highly, high testosterone game we have. We're trying to, throw a ball as hard as we possibly can at the person across from us.
Yeah,
and it's
very,
awesome.
very personal.
Obviously, you and I know that we're gonna hug and high five and pal and have a beer after the match. But when you're out there, if you can't handle losing, or you can't handle getting hit, or looking like a fool, then it's not a game for you. And unfortunately, instead of like I would do, instead of going home going, all right, I needed to get better, I shouldn't have thrown that high, or I shouldn't have thrown by myself, people just go home and say, oh, screw it, it's just a screw-off sport like dodgeball.
Yeah, like, I don't need this.
It's that rare gem that comes back and says, yeah, you know what, last week I sucked, Rob, tell me what I can do better. And when that happens, I'm like, yes, cool, you're with me.
Like, I will give you all the knowledge, my son, like you will learn.
That's right.
My child. Yeah, so you've come from an athletic background. What are there any particular sports that you played growing up that you feel just kind of molded you into a dodgeball player already? Like, you played some baseball, so therefore you can throw and whatnot.
No, I played all sports, but I don't think anything molded me to be a good dodgeball player. I think my love for athletics kind of took over, because in this sport, you have to be an athlete. If you're fat and you can throw 100 miles an hour, great, but you're a big target. You have to be well-rounded. You have to be on the ground, you have to be up in the air, you have to throw hard, you have to track well, you have to be smart. Other sports, I think it's kind of, it kind of replicates my personality, because I'm even in anything that I do, I'm all over the place. You know what I mean? I can't sit still. So this sport was just for me. I mean, basketball is my number one sport. I raced motocross as a kid and then as a young adult. So I think that gave me like the toughness for the sport and the drive to be better. But no traditional sport I think I can kind of give credit to for my success in dodgeball. I think it's just my love for the sport and wanting to be better, and also the challenges that it takes, because you can't just be a thrower, you can't just be a dodger. If you want to be an all-around good player, you have to be everything, and that's tough to do. So I think that's why I love it the most. I think that's what draws me. So I think maybe my competitive nature, I guess, helps me, but I can't say that one traditional sport has helped me with my success in dodgeball.
Like, any more, any less than others? Gotcha. So going into competitive nature, so now we're looking at, say, 2004 is when the movie came out. So we have this crazy rush of people, and next thing you know, and I really am trying to dig deep and figure out how I found out, but you hear about the National Dodgeball League Dodgeball World Championship.
Yeah.
DWC Dodgeball World Conference. It was like the championship and conference, but
yeah, it was championship, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know how this happened. Probably from Dodgeblogger, and I'm getting way into the weeds here. But I just remember getting the flyer for the $25,000 tournament and just completely losing my mind. Like, it was like I got that flyer and I immediately called up every single person in Tucson. Like, guys, we have to go to Vegas. We have to do this. Like, there's just no question about it. I must have spent like hours on the website just reading and rereading every little thing, trying to find every little nook and cranny of the website. What were you when you found out about the DWC DWC, and how did you find out?
I was just like you. I would just search. I would just search all the time. I remember my girlfriend and I, wife at the time, lived in this apartment, and we had this room, with a computer in it. It's not like laptop days, and I would just search. I would just sit in there. I would listen to music. I would just search dodgeball images, dodgeball rules, dodgeball anything. And I think I just typed in like pro dodgeball, and I think the tryout information popped up, and I was like, what? Where is this? And I'm like, Vegas. I'm like, oh, shit. But then, I was an unemployed wannabe teacher. I didn't have any kind of cash to go to Vegas. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, well, I'm definitely going. There was never a doubt in my mind, like, I have to do this. I think it was probably your reaction when you saw that poster was my reaction when I saw the ad. I'm drawn to it. I have to go figure this out. If I obsess over this so much, I think this is the mecca of all that I am searching for. I have to get there. And I went.
Yeah, it's quite the call to action, and just getting there was amazing, and just the hype and the energy and the excitement of just what's it going to be like was just too cool. What did you hop on a team, or did you play for a team? If you can.
Yeah, I did. I didn't go out. I went out with the guy who actually named me hometown, because his parents had like some free stuff for a room. So we got like a free room, and he wanted to go out and party. He played pickup with me, but had no interest in playing competitively. So I hopped on a couple teams as a free agent. We got in like super late, so I was basically just there for the NDL Pro tryout.
Gotcha. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to place you visually. It's just not happening. But I imagine that's forgivable. Now, you'd mentioned in a previous conversation, like, didn't you like hitchhike to the venue, or you're just like not gonna miss this for anything, right?
Yeah, I got there, and it was in Henderson, which is, I get there thinking it's like right on the strip. I've never spent too much time in Vegas previously to this, so I'm like, oh well, we all take a bus from Caesar's Palace. So I remember like some faces like on that bus. I see people like, a tiger bomb on their shoulder, and I'm just like sitting there. I'm just by myself, just like Eye the Tiger, like Rocky scenes in my head, and we get bussed out. And I think I got like $50 in my pocket. And we get there, I'm doing the whole thing, and I meet Nikki, who I've been in touch with, Nikki Lagrano, for, month previous, to trying to organize everything. And before I leave, I get a T-shirt and a wristband and a couple pins. So that was like $35. So I got like $15, which is not enough for a cab ride back to the strip. So I'm like, well, it's like 106 degrees. I guess I'm walking. So I leave home course, and I walk for like 20 minutes. So all of a sudden the cab pulls over, and it was a guy that I tried out with from Chicago. And he's like, what are you doing walking? I'm like, well, I'm just looking to get back to the strip. I have $15. He's like, get in. He's like, you had an awesome tryout. He's like, so much fun. He's like, I'm going back to the Palace. Is that okay? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I go, dude, I have a credit card. I could buy some lunch after or something. He's like, no, you had a great tryout. He's like, cab ride's on me. He's like, hope we make it. Good luck. And that was it.
That's crazy.
But like that's just a small testament of the dodgeball community, though. You know what I mean? Looking back on it now, that would never be an issue. A ride, people bend over backwards for other dodgeball players.
Oh yeah, I mean you got couches to surf on, or beds to guest rooms, and people host you, and
yeah, that's it.
There's even been talk of what's that?
I've had random dodgeball players sleeping on my couch just because they wanted to play in our facility on a Monday night. My wife will come downstairs and come back up before work and say, "Who's on our couch?" It's just that's what it is.
Dodgeball player.
Come and play dodgeball for 2 hours and have a few beers after and pass out on my couch. More than welcome.
That's funny because that was one of the things I was thinking about not too long ago. In fact, I think it might have been like yesterday. Is that there are, and I'll probably capitalize on this more or focus more on it, but there's some kind of consistency that dodgeball brings, and it all started with, for me, and for you as well, 2005, that tryout, because here comes 2006, and we start to see similar faces, and then it just becomes a community. And I think that I couldn't pin it at the time, but when I left Vegas that evening, I was really bummed. Like, I'm just coming off of this adrenaline high, just could not believe the amount of competition that was out there. But the fact that there's so many people like me that are down to play dodgeball and we're just totally cool about it. Like, we didn't know it at the time, but we made some pretty solid friends, I think, for years to come, and some that are still, within our social circles, I feel.
Yeah, 100%. And that's all pre-Facebook groups. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a meetup thing. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to post on here, I'm getting into Vegas, who's down for dinner at Margaritaville? It's like, show up on a whim and maybe meet some people, not like look at your flip phone every 4 seconds to see what's going on or who's winning or losing. Now it's easy. Now you just look, and people recognize me just from social media stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know who these people are. And the camaraderie, and just through dodgeball, my best friends, all my best friends I met through the sport. Leagues that I've run, or leagues I've played in, or tournaments I played in. People that my kids call uncle are best friends I've met playing dodgeball. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's like it felt like at first it was like an underground society. Like, oh, I know people in this city, we'll be okay. Or I've got friends here because of this crazy thing called dodgeball. And it's because of social media, we're more connected than ever. Speaking of that, so we're moving into 2006-ish now. DWC's over. We're all excited about the future, the next tournament, the professional season, all this stuff that's coming around. And I remember I'm just chilling in an apartment at a friend's house, and I see a commercial, and it opens up with a dodgeball, and I just lose my mind. And my friends are like, "What's up?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it's here! This is it!" And it was the Hanes dodgeball underwear commercial, and I really hope that it's still out there on YouTube somewhere. That is probably the most excited I've ever been and ever will be to see dudes in their underwear playing dodgeball. But holy crap, did I lose my mind? I was like, oh my God, dodgeball is it, dude. We made it. This is so great. And I just wanted to watch it over and over again. I guess we'll just stop there. But were you in that commercial by chance, or did you have anything to do with that?
No, I got the invite, I got the package, whatever, and sent my video in, and Nikki had called and said, "Am I interested?" And I was a new teacher, and I remember going to my athletic director and saying, "Hey, this opportunity came up. This is what it is. Blah blah blah." Because I was a new teacher, I was super scared. I didn't want to lose my job and all this stuff. I didn't know what was going on. And you go to college, and as a teacher, they say you can't do this, can't do that. So he's like, "Well, do what you want." He's like, "But what are you going to do when you have students, female students that are 17, 18-year-olds that have your picture of you in your underwear in their locker?" So I was like,
"Yeah, I could get that."
Well, that's a great point. But Nikki invited me out to the city. They did a photo shoot at Rutgers for like ESPN the magazine and Men's Health and Fitness. So I got a ton of Hanes underwear, as much as I can carry. So that was pretty cool. Got to hang out with those guys. But yeah, I remember the same thing. I did find it a little awkward that I kept excitedly showing people that I know, hey, check out this commercial.
Yeah,
and it was mid 20-year-olds in their underwear jumping around. But yeah, that was awesome. I was super pumped for those guys and super pumped for the sport. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so we in Tucson, we got the invite. Unfortunately, I wasn't, because I still weighed like 150 pounds, and it was just, I didn't know what I was doing physically at all. But just to have one of us like even have the chance to be selected to parade around their underwear, which is still crazy. it was such a big deal. It was just, my goodness, Hanes today, tomorrow Nike. It was just like such high hopes and expectations, and just continuing to feed that fire. Then you have like the tour stops going on, and so now, Phoenix is connecting with Tucson. I imagine it was kind of similar to you, 'cause I think you were part of one of those 4 tour stops in 2006, if you can recall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just awesome how everything was shaping up. And then to kind of segue into what I want to say, like what kind of has spawned off of the NDL, but a lot of people see elite dodgeball now as the competitive front, and it's crazy to think about how somebody coming in now, or even 2-3 years ago, are coming in because of UDC or elite, and they have no idea like what life was like back in the day. It was just like, it's just completely crazy and undeveloped compared to where we are now. And then you have things like Outcast, where we have people such as yourself that are going overseas to play. Like, there's just so much development, so much evolution in dodgeball. How did that come about? How do we go from checking to find out if there are tournaments on a message board to I'm in Germany and I'm playing dodgeball with a bunch of other people from around the world? What was that like, and how did that even come to be?
Wow. That's quite the question.
Loaded question there.
We have these opportunities now because what happened when we saw that flyer or that advertisement, and we dragged our asses to Vegas however we could, hitchhiking, big borrow or steal to get there. We went there and we were provided with a hell of an opportunity to play this game that we loved. And what did we do with that? We came home and it just like pyramided out. It was so great. I met this guy from New York. I met this guy from Arizona. I played against California. I played against Hawaii. So who wouldn't want to do that? Right? So all these other people say, let's just do it here. Let's do it ourselves. So now there's opportunities to play all over. And that's great. That's what we want, right? And there's no overseeing body that's going to say, whoa, you can't start up a dodgeball league because the dodgeball league already exists. So they're just going to pop up. And that's great. Keep playing. That's awesome. How it spawns to overseas is because they see us doing it, and it's the same exact thing. They want to provide opportunities. And once you play, you're hooked. You're going to want to do it more for memories. You're going to do it more to better yourself or become a better player. You don't want to do it to laugh at yourself. So that's how these opportunities are arising, these different leagues, and it's great. But it's all from providing an opportunity. And so the whole Germany thing and Outcast is just a whole nother story.
It's funny that you mentioned you laugh at yourself while you're playing. I don't know what goes on in my body, but like my endorphins just like shoot up, and so I will laugh out loud, uncharacteristically loud, at myself or at the funniest things that happen, and it's like laughing from like the belly. It's like an uproar, and sometimes I'm like, man, where did that come from? Like, what is this pure joy that I'm still feeling? At 34 years old. Like, how is it so that I played for so long all across the play, like everywhere, and there's still something new that I haven't experienced yet, or is still funny to me, or is still exhilarating.
That's right.
I imagine, playing in Germany, kind of how you explained it when we last spoke, completely new experience that probably you just cannot top. What are some highlights that you remember from that trip?
The trip was great. I mean, I went with my best friends. I went with my 3 best friends that play for New York Empire. So that was great. We all got invited, and we didn't know what to expect. Obviously, we go on YouTube and try to watch these things, and you look at the YouTube commercial for the Dodgeball Beach Cup, and it's a huge party. So first of all, it's the first thing I do is I send my wife like this 7-minute video. I'm like, hey, I want to go here in August or July, whenever it was. And she's like, oh, okay, well, looks fun, So just having the opportunity just to go over there to play the sport that we all hold so dearly was super, super awesome. So we get there, and even on the plane, we're all wearing our dodgeball gear and U.S. Dodgeball and New York Empire Dodgeball. So people are just starting to ask a little bit about some things. we didn't really know what to expect. We just thought it was a normal tournament. A lot of tournaments you go to in the States, it's usually at like a community center or some kind of rec center, some gym that's located maybe in some industrial park or maybe some suburban area with some schools around it, and something's usually booked in the gym next door. That's not the case for Germany. The whole town shuts down. Half of the town's population, 10,000 people, go to this tournament to either play in it or watch. It is an event they look forward to every single year. Like, it is the town's event. So, Emmanuel, he said, the captain of the team, the guy who started Outcast, he's like, hey, if you can, wear your Outcast jerseys as much as you can. He's like, the black and pink is famous. And, he's a happy Singaporean dude, and we're just like, oh, yeah, well, whatever. Well, he's definitely not joking. We were in grocery stores getting asked to take pictures with people. I don't speak.
Wow.
I know beer and I know nine. It's the only German words I know. So it was pretty awesome. He was so right. I mean, people were arguing with each other to see who can put us up for the night. And half our team stayed in one house, and my buddy Brett and I stayed at another house. And we go down, and there's like chocolates by the bed. There's fresh water by the bed. There's fresh towels and everything else. Everything we need.
Wow.
So we go to sleep. Of course we're reenacting some famous lines from the movie Taken, because we just think this is it.
We're gonna die.
Yeah. And we wake up in the morning, open the door, and the whole family is just standing there, like, coffee, like just waiting to see. Like, we're famous people. It's ridiculous. But that right there was it's definitely a highlight of my dodgeball career, and one that I'll never forget. And hopefully I can get back there to be part of it again. But it was just a huge smile on my face the entire time, just to say, okay, this is how it should be. This is being treated as a real sport. We're being treated as real athletes, and it was very incredible to see 163 teams in this, what they call a small town of 20,000 in Stadtlohn, Germany, show up on this weekend to play, to party, but most of all to be a part of a great event that is a Dodgeball Beach Cup.
That is awesome. It sounds like if you're gonna have a bucket list of things to do before you retire, like, that has to be one of them. It sounds like
100%.
So how does one get on Outcast? Are you able to speak towards that a little bit?
Yeah, Outcast was formed because Emmanuel Tan, he played in Singapore, and he just showed up wanting to play just like we did. Just like I did in Vegas. He showed up, and the people that was running the league said, you need a team to play on. So he would just go every week, and he would just hang out there, and he just looked for people that were outcasts, that didn't have a team.
Nice.
So that's how the name came up. He's like, hey, we were the outcasts. We are the outcasts. We are outcasts. So what he's doing now is the opposite of what happened to him. He was not afforded the opportunity to play, but now he has his team. He's providing that opportunity to play as the outcast. So he looks for people who are fun, who are good people, who have some dodgeball skill maybe, but that's not the top of the list. He wants to spread the good word of dodgeball, and that's by playing and by representing individual countries, but mainly Outcast as a solid dodgeball squad that is very respectful of the game and the people they play against for the future of the game. So I asked him, like, what's the deal? He's like, you're more than welcome to play, but I wanted my friends to come with me. I'm not going to go to Germany by myself. Vegas is one thing, but and so he said, yeah, bring them along. And it was awesome. We had, on our Outcast team this year, we had 3 of us from the States. We had a guy from Singapore, a guy from Scotland, a guy from Ireland, and a guy from England. I think that's it on our team. And we all got together, and we played well, and we actually won the tournament. It was awesome.
Oh, nice. So just to completely sweeten the deal even more, oh yeah, by the way, we're champions and we won.
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was great. It was great. And the people of the town, half of them were cheering us on because we were outcasts, and half of them wanted us to lose because they won in the past, and I love that. But at the end of the day, it was a great party, and just seeing the countryside, and we ended up getting a party bus and taking, I think, 20 of us to a local bed and breakfast where we had dinner, and they had this whole table set up with Outcast signs, and we walked in like we were celebrities.
Wow, that is awesome. I will. I'll be looking into this next year for sure. That's
Good.
definitely on my list. So speaking of recognition, and worldly events, so if I recall, memory serves me correctly, you set a world record, right?
Yeah, I attempted 3, set 2. Longest marathon playing dodgeball. Oh God, it's even hard for me to say that without dry heaving. Um, First attempt was 24 hours, but we kind of did that incorrectly with the format and everything else. The next attempt was 31 hours. That was in 2010. We played for 31 hours, 11 minutes, and 13 seconds of continuous dodgeball. And then a group from Castleton College in Vermont played for 42 hours. And we watched a film on that and some of the highlights, and it was just ridiculous. They're playing barefoot, and they were just like messing around. They're on each other's shoulders, and they weren't like real players. So we're like, we gotta bring that record back home where it belongs, with some real dodgeball people that have a rubber heart and just really have love for the game. So we played again for 43 hours straight.
Good Lord.
And it was awesome and awful. But we had the 43-hour attempt. We had people from New York City. We had a lot of upstate people, upstate New York people. My friend Toshiya Yoshida from Japan flew over just for the record.
Wow.
And it was great. There's 18 of us. There's 9 on each team. Obviously, 6 play at a time, so you did have a little bit of rest in there. But I was up for 67 hours straight. And I'm sure you can attest to staying up with your background. But we played 800-something competitive dodgeball games. Like, it was competitive. It wasn't just go out there and throw. We did have some fun games in the wee hours of 3, 4 in the morning, but it was competitive dodgeball, and it was the most exhausted I'll ever be. But worth it.
I can't even. I'm sure I played 800 games cumulative in my 10, 12-year span of playing dodgeball. I could not even picture doing that repetitively. Like, when we first started, we considered marathon dodgeball playing from 7:30 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning until we literally cannot throw a single ball anymore, or the cops are chasing us out. And even now, I aged quite a. I'm gonna be a little bit more generous with myself. I am older now, and I played in a 3-division tournament that Kelly hosted in LA, the LA Classic. And at first I was like, 3 divisions, cool, that sounds great, sounds fantastic, I can totally do this. By the end of the first day, I was just dead. And like, this also happened with Sin City. Like, we're just so dead. And I never thought, like, I must have really just disappointed the inner young adult in myself. But I cannot wait for round robin to end. I was just like, just make it stop. Like, I found out we had like 3 more rounds left, and I was like, this is a nightmare. Like, how did you even last? Like, what was the setup like? And so many questions.
If we weren't doing it for an official Guinness World Record, I don't think we would have done it. I don't think I could have done it. But also, I think a huge motivating factor for me is because I organized it. So I would notice that if I got like down, if I said I was tired, then it would just trickle right down, and the other 17 people would be like, "Oh, well, Rob's tired, then I must be tired."
You gotta keep that standard up.
I had to keep the energy up, and I had to keep going. So that was a huge motivating factor for me. We've done 2 24-hour charity marathons, a 24-hour record attempt, 31-hour record, and 43-hour record. I played more dodgeball in 5 separate settings than most people have played in their entire life. There's no option. And one of the 24-hour marathons that we just did for charity for Ainsley's Angels, providing jogging wheelchairs for people, for kids who don't have the mobility to run, I broke my foot in the 11th hour. I went up and I dodged 2 balls, and I came down on another ball. I went out and I taped my my foot, didn't take my sneaker off, and 3 guys from Pennsylvania were like, "Oh, I think we're done." I'm like, "Well, you're not done." He said, "Well, you're done." No, I'm not. And I finished the tournament with a broken foot. because I
Jeez.
knew if I was going to quit, then everybody else would, and then that's what, one or two less jogging wheelchairs for kids who need them. So there was really no option. Um, when people are there watching, if press is there, that helps a lot. You kind of forget about how tired you are because you want to look good for cameras, and you don't want people thinking that you're slacking off. But it was tough. People always say, "I'm gonna break your record." I said, "Go right ahead and try," because it's not easy.
Wow. Yeah, that is there's something to be said about when other people are relying on you, like you somehow just tap into this reservoir of strength and resolve that you just did not know you had, and it'll carry you through the worst things ever, and you come out a better person for it. What where could you find out more about this, or where I mean, is it like legitimate in the world, the Guinness Book of World Records, or can you see it on a site, or how do you?
Yeah, if you just look up New York Dodgeball World Record, it should probably come up, or Rob Immel World Record. I'm sure a bunch will come up.
That's awesome, and so you're gonna be there forever, basically.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Wow. I so just real quick, so you just nonstop competitive games. Did you guys rotate out at all? Did you get like any breaks or?
Yeah, if you can bank through, Guinness has super strict rules, and it's just a pain in the ass. Like there's so many different rules, and you have to follow everything to a T. You can bank. You have a 5-minute break for every hour that you play, and you can bank that time. So we would just bank up like 9 hours worth and take a 45-minute break, and then we just like eat and listen to music and kind of hang out, things like that. But I didn't want to stop because I knew my body, and I knew that if I stopped, I wasn't starting again. Some people tried to sleep because we did have 3 subs. Some people tried to sleep. I think that hurt them. I just kept playing. I
Yeah,
kept playing because I knew, like I said, if I stopped, I was done. I would hammer down a Cliff Bar, a sugar-free Red Bull, and a couple Clementines, and a
good to
handful
go.
of ibuprofen, and I was good to go.
Like I probably just took 2 years of my life, but so be it. I'm gonna live forever.
That's right. That's right. And it's pretty cool because Toshi he traveled 15 hours, 18 hours on a plane to get here and do this, and a woman from the New York Times was interviewing him, and I was kind of in the hallway, like helping him maybe translate a little bit through just different words. I don't speak Japanese, but
I was gonna ask.
but she asked him, it must take a lot for you to fly here, and he said, and it's in the New York Times article, he said that it's a lot, but it's nothing compared to what Rob has done and what Rob is doing for dodgeball. And I was like,
Wow.
what? Like that was like the best thing in the world. So right there, like something here and that, like I was good to go for another 12 hours.
Yeah, I just recharged. I will do this for 3 more days because you said that.
Right.
That's crazy. Any particular songs that like they just kind of helped you stay focused and motivated?
Oh yeah, we had my best friend Brett is like a musical genius, so he had a 43-hour playlist, and it's your
Oh man.
typical stuff. We're huge Steel Panther fans, and back then every time Steel Panther would come on, we would we would go crazy. And the New York Times lady was was interviewing me, and I forget what Steel Panther song it was, but it was not appropriate, and they were saying some pretty vile things, and she was interviewing me, and I just could not help. I was just giggling. I hadn't slept, so I just had to giggle. And but music was definitely a motivating factor. Anything from '90s rap to guilty pleasures of 2000 pop,
Nickelback.
just for a change. But of course, the staples of Metallica and everything else are in there to keep you going.
That's awesome. Is there one particular song that you just like? This is the song I go to get amped up or to focus.
I don't know. Empire has our walkout song is Airborne, Live It Up, and it's just this kind of a slow start, and it just gets me so focused and fired up. I feel like a WWE star walking down the ramp or something.
That's what I was picturing.
And, yeah, we'll play it when we get like a mile away from the venue. We'll play before we walk out. It's kind of like our song, yeah. Airborne, Live It Up.
God, it's funny. It's amazing, like the parallels that exist. I clearly don't do this anymore, but when we'd roll up to like a Phoenix tournament with Team Evil, we packed my mom's SUV with players, and so I don't know what possessed me to get this idea, but I just started playing "Roll Out" by Ludacris as we were pulling up into the parking lot, and for some reason it was like the funniest thing, but it became tradition. And it's just like, I wonder how many other people out there have like their go-to song and their posse or like their squad roll-up song that they just start blasting the moment they approach that venue. And we thought we were so original, right, to do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm sure if you asked every teammate that I have what song is your team song, we would all say the same one.
That's awesome. Real quick segue. Lyric Friday. I see that on your Facebook feed, and sometimes I play along, or at least I think I'm playing along, because you just get a song stuck in my head. I'm like, all right, cool. I guess I'll sing along, or I'll type along.
Sure.
What is that about exactly? Just for fun, or?
Yeah, my buddy Brett, he just is all about music, and he just thought it'd be fun for a couple people just to do like hashtag Lyric Friday and put up some lyrics. And some Fridays it's a theme for me, or it's what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking. And other Fridays it's if I'm having a slice of pizza in the pizza shop and a song's playing, I just put it down there. But it's crazy that you ask, because like if I forget, all of a sudden like I'll have random Facebook messages or text messages like, dude, where's your Lyric Friday? Like on a Friday, like where is it? Like we're looking forward to
live
it.
For this, man. Where is it? Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, it's I don't know, like anything else, it's something corny but positive to do on social media. And I dig it. I like looking at other people's stuff because I kind of imagine that they're doing the same thing that I am. Either they're hearing the song, they're thinking of the song, or they're thinking of a memory that the song reminds them of. And I dig. I try to place where people's heads are at by reading their song lyric.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it was Dylan Tobia. He once posted. It may not have been him, but I think it was him. He once posted like Bohemian Rhapsody, just like one line, and then all of a sudden 19 notifications later you got like the entire song going on.
The entire
song. It's just really cool when that happens. It's such a in a world of negativity, that's one of the cool things that people can do sometimes that just brighten your feet up a little bit. So
yeah,
I thought I'd
absolutely
comment on that. Real quick, I got two more questions, maybe three. When we last spoke, one of my pressing questions was, will we ever see you at an elite tournament? And I think the answer that you'd given me was, it's not even so much about what you may think, and I'm not going to air that out really. Trying to keep this podcast neutral, and I'll just leave it at that. But it was more of the style of play that just it's not your style. Like you even kind of alluded to it earlier, like you like to be all over the place, balls to the wall. Am I mistaken, or do I remember correctly?
Yeah, no, that's it. I get that question all the time, and it's funny. I feel like people sometimes are nervous to ask me, like there's some kind of vendetta why I haven't been. But I mean, locally, it's 3 tournaments in the championship. I met, and it's awesome. But if one of my teammates has something going on that weekend, I'm not going without them. But the majority is, I said it before. I said it to one of the elite organizers, Tim Wells. I said, I'm 36 years old. I got 3 kids and a beautiful wife at home. I said, if I'm not going to travel with my team to play a tournament that I'm not going to have fun with, and don't get me wrong, dodgeball is fun. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, any style. But I like the faster pace, and I'm not all about the 3 balls and huddle up for 30 seconds. Luckily, the World Dodgeball Association style fits me perfectly. That European style fits me. I love it. I found my niche. I've started over again with this WDA cloth ball style. Don't get me wrong. My heart is and my brain is rubber, but this cloth ball style is just super fun. There's no time to huddle up. There's no time to talk. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure you will, because I'll never stop playing. So I'm sure you will see me at an elite type tournament. But if I had my druthers, I'd make it a lot faster.
I'll take that as a hint of some kind, and that makes perfect sense. I mean,
and it's not. And people, I think people ask me that question sometimes, and they're hoping for like a Phil Donahue or a Jerry Springer type answer, where it's like I have some kind of protest against them. No, I mean some of my teammates have played in elite tournaments with like Team Awesome or something like that. Um, it's great. I love what they're doing. They're taking the National Dodgeball League, the NDL model, and they got everybody on their ship, and they're running with it, and they're organizing these awesome tournaments that everybody loves and everybody shares on Facebook, and it's great. It's what we need. Um, but I don't know. It's just one of those
You need
things
some
where,
stars to align, and then we'll see.
yeah, yeah, sure, I'm in. I mean, one thing that's going to get me there is I see these team rankings come out, and I see teams that are top three that haven't beat my team in like 3 years. But I don't know. Dodgeballs, but I'm focused right now on WDA. I think they're doing the right thing. I think that I'd be honored to represent USA at Madison Square Garden in August of 2018 at the Dodgeball World Cup. And that's what I'm focusing on right now. I'm playing strictly WDA style. I'm playing strictly with the cloth ball, with the WDA ball, and everything they're doing right now is so good for the sport. And I've never been so positive in the fact that I think that we will see this beautiful game that we love in the Olympics in the future. And I think that a lot of that has to do with what the WDA is doing right now.
And that's what you were doing this past weekend, right? Because
you
mentioned Team USA. I saw the Instagram.
Yep. This past weekend, I was lucky enough. I went out to Maryland to try out, and I also went to a tryout pretty locally here in New York. And I was lucky enough to be invited out to Washington, D.C. to the America's Cup, which was a qualifying event for the Dodgeball World Cup, which is going to be held at Madison Square Garden in August of 2018. So this is strictly a Team USA versus Team Canada match. We met up in Washington, D.C. They held a women's match, a mixed team match, and a men's match. And it was great. It was awesome. There was some, the trial process, I guess, is still going on for the U.S. team. Like I said, I did 2 tryouts. They're having their last tryout in Missouri this weekend, and they're also viewing video submissions. So the team isn't announced yet, and there were some people, I think, who were kind of on the bubble that were also invited. So it wasn't the actual Team USA team, but we had a pretty good squad. We had a good time, and we ended up beating Canada and sweeping them and winning all divisions. But there were some close games in there too, and I saw some people I didn't know that played dodgeball play, and the future looks pretty bright. So hopefully we're going to bring a great squad to Madison Square Garden, and hopefully I'm there representing, and hopefully we'll do well and represent our country. Because that event in Manchester, England in July of 2016 was very incredible, with 57 teams represented, 57 countries represented. It was pretty magical to see how popular dodgeball is worldwide.
I think that's something people don't realize is how other countries have really picked this up and run with it. And you'll even see it being taught in schools, whereas you absolutely will not see that here. In fact, people will scoff at you and look at you like you just committed the most awful blasphemy, in your case, several years ago. But that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that, and good luck. And I hope you do represent the U.S., get that opportunity, and smash anybody that would dare defy us and our superiority. If you want to talk about like uniting people, just throw a Team USA out there, and we'll all want us to come out ahead, regardless of the organization. How can you find out more about it though? Like what website, Facebook page? Et cetera, et cetera.
U.S. Dodgeball has a Facebook page. World Dodgeball Association, I think, is your best bet. If you just look up, I think it's Planet Dodgeball, or just Google World Dodgeball Association. They're doing the right things, and they're really, really closely involved with the International Olympic Committee and other world game committees. Dodgeball through the WDA was just accepted through an organization that is not the Olympics, but it's a World Games Association that's very close to the Olympics. So it's super exciting. And they're doing the right thing. They're having these cups in different continents and things like that. And the Dodgeball World Cup will be played every other year in a different place. When we were in Manchester, England, it was announced where the 2018 event was going to be. And the three finalists were New York City, Australia, and Austria.
Oh
And
man,
I was really hoping for anything but New York City because
of
I've been
course.
there. But it is going to be cool. Hopefully, as I said, I'll be part of it. But I'd love to have my kids and family and friends come on out. I have a friend that's asking me to make the team, to make the team. I can't wait to get out there in August and see you play. So hopefully,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a great opportunity, or that's a good takeaway. Is you can get relatives and friends to come check you out and watch you play instead of just a handful that would have to fly to other
right.
countries. Cool. So I do want to respect your time, but you did bring out another question. So I've got two more left, and I'll try to keep it at that. So you mentioned you're 36. Future looks bright. May I ask, how many more years of dodgeball do you see coming out of you? And I ask this more as a personal question because every time I meet somebody that's been around as long as I have, if not longer, I ask that question because I kind of look to them for permission on can I continue to play. So that's where I'm coming from with
Yeah,
that question, at least.
yeah. I don't have a timeline. I think that my time as a dodgeball player is going to continue. I mean, I'll push a wheelchair. I'll roll a wheelchair if I have to. But I think my time and my days of going to Germany for a week or England for a week or playing against different countries maybe coming to an end soon. I'm always going to be a competitive Dodger, but I hope, this sounds weird, but I hope in the next 2 or 3 years that I'm not good enough to make a USA team. I hope that the future brings up these new young athletes that love the game as much as I do, who can replace me. I think that it'd be a success for dodgeball if I couldn't make a team in 2 years. I'm giving it my all right now, but as a 38-year-old dodgeball player in 2 years, I hope that I don't make it. I hope I'm not fast enough. I hope I'm not quick enough. Right now I am. Right now I'm at the best of my game. So knock on wood, I hope that
Right.
remains. I can't believe I am. But as I'm playing, 19-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds, and they're rubbing biofreeze on their arm and they're complaining about how tired they are, it makes me feel pretty damn good that I feel as good as I am. And I think a lot of that I have to attribute to my mental state of mind. Like I'm not stopping. I'm not seeing myself as old. I mean, I may look in the mirror. I look like Paulie Walnuts a little bit with the gray hair sides, but I feel great, and I'm gonna keep playing for a long time. My oldest son is only 7, so I got like a decade before he can start doing things. um, but
I
yeah, as far as competitive, and like I said, I hope at 38 years old, I'm not one of the top 10 players in the U.S. that can make that team. As weird as that sounds for me to say, but for the sport,
it
I
doesn't
may be on
sound
the
weird
I
so
may be
much
on the
as new.
sideline or something, but I'll play forever. But my competitive obsession with this game uh, will continue locally, not internationally, probably.
Gotcha.
So permission granted for you to just keep on trucking.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. It's like, you know what? Rob just wrote me a blank check. I can play until I can't, until I physically cannot play anymore. And even then,
And,
can I really not play?
and you know what? Honestly, uh, my family right now they don't want me to not play because I don't know what I would do. I'd be too crazy. I'd be bouncing around the walls like crazy. My wife would say, "Get out, go do something else."
You need to burn that
So
energy, man.
I can't. I need dodgeball. I think about it all the time. I'm always thinking about strategies. I'm always thinking about next opportunities to play and better my game. So I'm here for now, and we'll go with that.
Nice. That was a good answer. In fact, I think that reminded me when we last spoke, we had like a pact. Like neither of us can retire until we've played against each other at least once.
That's right. That's
So
right.
that's another check mark that unfortunately has to be made before we even think about it. So we'll hold each other to that.
Definitely.
Cool, man. Well, the last question I have for you, and I'm sure it's not absolute, but what is your greatest dodgeball memory so far to date?
My my greatest dodgeball memory is the next one. Is next. The next one I'm going to play is Monday. So that's my greatest memory. I
Oh,
look
that's a
forward
good
to making
answer.
these memories. I I look back and there's so many different things that are bookmarked and so many different plays and ridiculous things that I've done with my body and game-winning catches and game-winning kills and you know I had the winning throw in Germany and I had a great game winner this weekend against Canada. It's just those things. It's just all part of greatness. I think one that sticks out though for me is when we set the world record, 2013, I believe it was. It was 2010. It was the 31-hour record. 2010, my daughter was 2, and my son was about to be born. Like a lot of the newspaper headlines asked me, you know, what happens if your wife goes into labor when you're doing this world record? You can't leave. And my response was, I'm glad that there's doctors on call because I'm not. But fortunately, he stayed in until it was over. But my little 2-year-old daughter was there, and there's this picture of her and I. She just ran up to me after the record. I'm just looking at her. I got a bottle of champagne in one hand, and she's just looking at me. And it's just this crazy feeling of like, holy shit, like my dad is a world record holder, you know. And I was that to me is one of the best ones. It wasn't a tournament. It was no victory. Obviously, we got the world record, but that's a memory that I'll always remember. And my wife being 10 months pregnant there as well.
Wow.
But that's it. And I think, you know, even then people are like, what are you doing? You have a kid on the way. Well, now I have 3 kids and I'm still doing the same thing. So it just shows right there that my love for this game is it's forever. It's infinite.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's that's crazy. That you said you didn't win anything, but I mean, the stamina, the dedication, determination, the fact that you were able to arrange all that stuff and it all just kind of came together for you. That's really awesome, and it's one of those things that like I knew existed. I just didn't know to what degree and to what depth. And when I saw it going on, I was like, oh, that's crazy, cool. Next feed, please, or next thing. And I really want to be able to shed light on that and just like let that be known that this is the thing that happened. Took a lot of time, dedication, effort, energy, and it played out really well for you. And hats off to you, man, for sticking through that. That 800 games is insane. I still can't get over that.
Yeah, it was insane. And when we broke the record for 43 hours, you know, the first record was 42 hours, 17 minutes. So when we got to 42 hours and then 17 minutes passed and we officially had the record, we were going to go for 43. But I gathered everybody as we're setting the balls up, and all 18 of us were there in the center of the court. And it's a court that I play in and train in multiple times a week. And I'm just looking around at these faces, and there's just the joy and the attention they had on me. I broke down. I started crying. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's a super emotional moment, and we stuck together for 42 and 20 minutes, and I started crying. And then we played for another 40 to set the world record, and it was an incredible time with incredible people that I'll never forget.
Yeah, there's no shame in that. That's got to be moving. I don't care who you are. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate your time, Rob. I mean, I could talk to you forever, and we both know this already, considering we just completely had a similar conversation not too long ago, but still found new things to talk about. I'm pretty excited about where this podcast may lead to. I'm sure we have more opportunities to talk in the future. So
yeah, and you know, if anybody asks or wants to, you know, hear more or any kind of questions or rebut anything, you know, I'm Rob Hometown on Facebook or just Rob Immel, dodgeball@gmail.com. Get a hold of me, whatever you need.
Yeah, you're not some there's not some air of mystery around you. Like, yeah, you're a very approachable guy. You can, and I admit I kind of had that little hesitation at first, like, I don't know if I should ask this question, but I did, and I'm better off for it. So it's one of the coolest things I remember about you is like you're always just open. You're just down to talk dodgeball. Doesn't matter where, when, how. You love the game, and so that's one thing that we both have in common.
For sure.
So, unfortunately, fortunately, depending on how you look at it, that was actually my second conversation with Rob. Due to some technical difficulties, mostly on my end, what was an amazing conversation unfortunately got lost due to my audio ignorance. And while I have no problem subjecting you all to an hour plus of content, what I absolutely do have a problem with, however, is subjecting you to something that's inferior quality, especially when I know I can do better. So much, in fact, that Nick, he actually got on my case about not recording in the studio, and so that just goes to show the overall intent of these episodes, and we do hope that is reflected in them. And I really do hope that it came out as good as I think it did. I can talk, again, Dodgeball forever with Rob. It was great. Rob, I appreciate you being such a good sport about it, for sticking around a second time, and just working with me to find that one magical hour where we can both connect and make this thing happen. As mentioned in the first episode, if you're interested in talking Dodgeball, you know where to look. Until my next victim, this is Steve with the Dodgeball Podcast, signing off. Oh, and happy holidays, everyone.